STAKK Nation, welcome back to the channel.
Champions.
Today we're going to be talking about trading. Bartering, if you will. If you're familiar with trade by barter, this was one of the original methods of exchanging value. But before we continue to exchange this value, we'd like to invite everyone to please take a moment to subscribe to the channel.
Choo choo.
If you find the content that we are sharing here informative, be sure to share it with your friends. Hit that notification bell and so on and so forth. This way, when we publish in the future, you'll be one of the first to know. Even though YouTube is still going to try to play some sly games to hold back the progress. But enough on that. I was trying to bring up the handles, but the handles did not show up. Something is always breaking. I don't know why. But anyhow, double up.
Yes, sir.
This trade by barter system, I think the best way to talk about it, we can probably roll back to the beginning of time when people started exchanging value. There's always been the need to exchange value, right?
Yep.
And it just becomes a matter of what are you going to use to represent that value in the exchange?
Yep.
Take it away, sir.
Once upon a time, once upon a time in human history, right? Our communities was much smaller, right? And hey, I can't be a carpenter and at the same time be a farmer. Everybody have different skills, right? But we have to change value because I cannot eat carpentry, but I need your food, and you need my furniture. So what we did back then was we changed and exchanged value based on the value that each one of us created.
Of course.
That creation comes from you and I using our energy to create services, using our energy to create commodities or products. And then we switch that. But what we found out over time was that it was difficult for you to calculate. Like if I had milk, I don't want my milk to go to waste. So I need to get my milk to you fast enough to get your chairs from you because you built the chairs for me. So we decided to introduce something called currencies. Currencies was going to be the mode of us changing that value to say, hey, 4 chairs that I built as a carpenter equals to maybe 1 cow. But human beings are fast and smart.
Of course.
They started abusing it. And that is how we got to where we are today. Kind of like, is that a good short summary?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent summary of the situation there. Now, we have a little visual here, which I think that this kind of gives also, just to drive that point home. It also points out very much how this whole trading system has evolved over time. Now, you see, like you mentioned there, we used goods actually to trade in the beginning. But with goods, we do not have the complete suite of features that makes superior money or hard money.
We actually didn't think of money back then. We just exchange. I'll come to your farm and dig the soil. You just give me the chicken that comes from your farm. Something like that.
Exactly. But the issue with that situation was that this money was not very transportable, if you will.
You can't even store it.
You cannot store it over time, right? Because you need to have that store or that ability to store the value over time, the ability to, for it has to be divisible, right? So you can break it down into smaller units in order to exchange. And of course, I think portable is one of those features as well, right, of money. But it seems it failed in those ways, which is why we now move forward to this system of representing our money with things that are more portable, more divisible, and of course, more capable, more durable, if you will. I was going to say more capable of holding your money over time.
It took us a while to get to the durable part because we went with stones, we went with seashells.
Exactly.
Then we eventually got to coins. I think it was coins that got us to the durability aspect of it.
Yeah, and the coins got us to durability. Unfortunately, it seems that the durability problem shifted from the physical to the value side of things, because now with the fiat system, your money is no longer the value is no longer durable.
Nope.
Right, because it's always sinking. So as we see there, around that 7th century AD, we went from exchanging goods to using essentially currencies, right? The alternative representation of value. At that point in time, it seems that, let's say the 70s specifically, right? Let's come back to the main screen here. It seems like in the 70s there, when we went off the gold standard, it seems that what we effectively did there as a people was taking the value or the power of value away from this physical representation of our work, right? This we shifted the energy from gold, if you will, right, which is what backed the value at that time, to putting that control of the value in the hands of central banks.
Actually, it started way before that.
And the Federal Reserve, right?
Yeah, it started way before that.
Well, true.
I have to say this, though.
Yeah.
In the 17th and 18th century, this is like in the 1700s. I'm not sure what we the people didn't cause this. It was just a group of family members that decided, oh, wait a second, we can introduce the concept of banking, right? Eventually, over time, when we were switching from actual hard materials,
Right.
actual currencies, we decided to say, hey, I can store your coins for you, right? And then you give it to the to either the like in the Roman Empire, you give it to the emperor. But what you started saying is that they started chipping away at those coins and devaluing those coins, right? So that was how it started. Then you started putting it in the bank, saying that they can secure it from you from theft, because that was how the old banking system started. But for some odd reason in the 17th and 18th century, we said, hey, we can do IOUs where you give us the gold and I will give you paper as a representation, which is why the printing press was another big invention in human history, where I can give you paper as a representation of the gold that I'm holding for you.
Right.
But then banks went crazier. We the people didn't do this and say, hey, I have the money. I can go and now borrow that money out. Even though it's your money, they go and use your money to go and make money for themselves and give you interest, so they called it. So that was how we eventually resulted in World War One and World War Two, which then eventually led to the Bentwood Agreement that forced everybody into one currency, which was USD. And then now we got into the 70s where they say, hey, we got another better idea. Let's get them off the actual physical materials that we've been using to exchange value and say, hey, it's just paper. Trust me.
Right. Which brings us to the point where, like I mentioned, the value is now taken from the physical assets that you're able to accumulate to represent your value to essentially having all of this power in the hands of the central banks or in the Federal Reserve, if you will. So at this point in time, it seems that everything else that follows after that, the value can be manipulated
Extremely.
or controlled by the central banks, by either through using interest rates, by printing more money. I mean, those are really just the two gears that it has. You can either devalue people's currency and then try to make everyone broke by increasing the interest rates, which is just taxes, right, on their money. So it seems then that we have to go back to a system that allows us to be able to transfer our energy into this unit of storage, and for that unit of storage not to be controlled by a small group of people, fully custodiable, fully custody capable by the individuals. You see, I was going to say custodiable, but I don't know if that's a word.
Hey, you can create words, man. That's what we do on this channel.
Hey, who created the first words in the first place?
We did.
Yeah. So, I think, as long as this value is now, sovereign, right? Not being held by another entity, not being controlled by another entity, we now find ourselves in a place where we can essentially go right back to that concept of trade by barter. Except in this case, we're just using digital representation of that money, which is sovereign, not controlled by anyone, right? Censorship free, to exchange that value. And we see that already happening. Take it away, Double Up.
Yeah.
How does that unfold for you?
I really don't know why we, the people, are not seeing that at some point in history we gave central authority powers over our energy, over our store of value, and they have abused it. And that it's now time that we reverse, not just time, but thanks to technology, have that same authority, that sovereign authority that we have over our own energy, over our own store of value. And that technology is here already. It's called Bitcoin, right?
Yes.
Where energy is used to create value. But instead of you giving your value to some third party, which is some bank, some central authority, some Federal Reserve or central bank, right? You just hold your own value and you just trade it. Just like we do that now. It's just that we give it to somebody else to do it for us.
Yeah.
You just own it and then you transact with whoever you want to transact with. It's that simple. It's not breaking any law. It's not going against any country. We're not fighting any war. It's just that you just become human like you should be.
You get to preserve your own value.
Like you always should have.
As you always should have. It is your God-given right. I don't think that is a matter of law. And I don't even think it's even up for debate. This is something that is your God-given right. But it's very interesting how we find ourselves in a place now where the banks are clearly overstepping. Almost making, I mean, it is social engineering, right? Giving you the perception that it might be illegal for you to be preserving your own value yourself. But if you look at it, it is not in their best interest, nor is it their job, really, to tell you if it is your job to preserve your value or not. You either know it or you don't. If you think about it, there might be a generation a while from now that might show up and not even know that it is your right. They don't even know the full range of rights that you have, right? And they might not even know that it is your right to preserve your own money. I wonder to myself sometimes, what are some things that are naturally my rights that I don't even know that it is my rights anymore? Yep. I understand the idea of rules and laws to govern a society, to keep things in order. But at the same time, we must be able to continuously negotiate this process with the people that we put in charge, apparently. This way, our own individual liberties are not violated. As we can see, it's already being violated every day.
I got violated this weekend.
Oh, God.
Yes. So, my uncle died.
Yeah.
I needed to send some money to my aunt.
Right.
Just so that she can help. 4 girls. How does she manage 4 young girls by herself?
Yeah.
Then I have a childhood friend. Things are really horrible in Nigeria. She needs to pay her rent.
Right.
I need to send money to that. Then I also have another friend. Things are so horrible, he needs a car so that he can get around, so that he can provide for his family. So I set out to start sending money. Guess what happens?
What happened?
Send the first money. Okay, that's fine. Try sending the second money. Guess what? I have reached my limitations for sending money. I gotta wait 7 days before I can send money.
Yeah.
Come on, people. We gotta wake up to this. This is nuts.
Yeah.
They call it, what they call it? Money's leaving the country. What's it called?
Capital flight.
Capital flight. How's this capital flight? You need to help. Like, it's my energy. I've chosen to help somebody else with the energy that I've created and give it to them to help them out. Yeah. But here comes the central authorities getting in the way of me helping other people. That's what you call violation of your personal rights.
Yeah, that is violation of your freedom to express yourself, really, because it is your freedom to be able to. Yeah, when you exchange value, that is one way of expressing yourself. And I find it strange that you can go to a casino actually and spend maybe more than double what you were going to send there. Mm-hmm. Literally go bankrupt, and at no point in time, I don't think they would find it to be their responsibility to stop you from losing all of your money. But if you're sending your money to do some things that are very productive, and this is other than sending money, if you look across the board, when it comes to areas where you're sending your money for productive reasons, if you will. There seems to be restrictions. However, if it is for things that are just entertainment, not really great return on investment for your time and your resources, they 100% support it. Go for it. This is one thing I'll also add here, and maybe we can wrap this one up at that point. But this idea of capital flight, it only enforces the fact that this system is a scam. Let me explain. If you are concerned about capital flight, this would mean that you do not have a strong means of continuously generating capital within your environment. So you have to do everything to protect this capital from exiting the system. It's like a Ponzi scheme. Let me explain it again. Ooh. Okay? In a Ponzi scheme, let's say you're buying a Ponzi crypto coin. You're all putting in your money. And most of the time, they will tell you you have to lock in this money.
Stake it.
For a certain period of time to get the money back. This is because they need more people to come in and bring in more money. So when they give you your money, it is not a problem.
Yep. It's called staking and restaking.
Exactly. Now imagine that some people, they do not have that rule of, hey, you have to lock in your money here. And everyone started taking their money out. What would you call that? I think it seems like capital flight.
Bank run.
A Ponzi scheme happens when the thing is not generating revenue to sustain itself. So now you can go back and ask yourself, what are the things that this economy here is doing that maintains or continuously generates that revenue? Because if you look at it, we import everything. And if the imports are not coming in and the money is exiting the system, then you're going to have a problem. But if we're rolling in this global economy, as they like to say, they're trying to globalize everything, right? If we're rolling in this global economy where everyone is producing and everyone is able to serve the other and generate revenue as well, then capital flight should not be an issue.
Never will be.
Because money that exits the country will be coming back because of things that people are benefiting from this economy as well. But everything that I explained there might be arguable. I do not graduate with economics from Harvard or one of these things.
You went wrong, man. It's that simple. Yeah. Keep it simple is what I say. It started in the 90s.
Okay.
Oh, we want to be a service-oriented economy. What the fuck? Excuse my French. Man. What you gonna do with your service? We have to produce. You export all your production to China, and now China builds its own economy and now sells back to you. And you say, oh, it's gonna create inflation if America goes back to producing, because certain small corporations decided to just focus more on profitability. You now give up the entire country's safety and economy to just those small corporations now, where if we decide to go back to producing, of course it's going to be inflationary. Because we're so used to now cheap stuff. But actually, is it cheap? Because these corporations are making trillions and billions of dollars off of exporting your production capabilities to other countries. So when you hear American first, here we need America first. We need to produce. Simple as that. We can't just be providing some digital virtual service.
Oh, I think it's too late for that now. I think that America can do what it can do to get back into production, but I think it's too late for that. I just think it's too late for that now. There is just no there is no coming back to the fiat system, to the SWIFT system, if you want to call it that, because the way the world is operating right now, there is multiple economies out there. And it seems you have to be participating in all these various economies. I've said this as well, just a little side note as well. I've always said that if your main source of GDP is weapons, then for you to make money, you need war. Okay. We should observe the war around us right now and see how that statement is playing out. Okay. Because if you do not have another means, another resource to provide your neighbors and everyone else in your community, then you're only going to go with what is available to you. Double up. Let's wrap this one out, sir. Any final thoughts?
Well, just like you said, you either focus on war or you focus on creating value.
Yes.
America still has that opportunity to focus on creating value. Part of that creation of value is the ability to be able to transact with that value without blockades, without barriers. Give the American people their sovereign power back. It's that simple. Allow them to trade Bitcoin, allow them to exchange value in Bitcoin, allow us to be able to send money across borders without restrictions. When we create value, the money will flow back into the country. It's that simple.
Well, listen, here's what I think is exciting about all of this. They don't need to allow us to do anything because Bitcoin doesn't give a shit. You can send money to anyone, anywhere, anytime. The question becomes, what are they going to do when more and more people start exchanging value directly? Trade by barter in a digital manner. I think the holes will start to show. I mean, the holes are really showing in their system. But I think there'll be more and more holes showing. Listen, man. It's an outdated system. It's not about liking or hating establishment or anything. It's an outdated system, and these people are cheating the American people by not moving into the 21st century with money because a small group of people keep full control. Yep. You can argue me about it. I'm here to talk about it any day.
I like how you said that. You can argue me about it.
Yeah, argue me about it. It's fine. Okay. Be sure to like the channel or like the video.
Yeah, like the channel.
Yeah, subscribe to the channel, like the video, share with your friends. You can also find us on X at STAKKFin and Spotify at STAKK. There's not many episodes there. Okay. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, incredible times. Brazen out.
Double O.